Ashley Judd is suing Harvey Weinstein for harming her career. So Ashley Judd has filed a lawsuit against Harvey Weinstein saying that he damaged her career by spreading lies about her after she refused his advances. Here is the statement. I lost career opportunity, I lost money, I lost status and prestige and power in my career as a direct result of having been sexually harassed and rebuffing the sexual harassment. My career opportunities after having been defamed by Harvey Weinstein were significantly diminished. My career was damaged because I rebuffed Mr. Weinstein's sexual advances. I know it for a fact. Now, this suit specifically points to an incident that we covered, I believe, on this show with regards to Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings franchise. She was originally slated to have a major role in the films, but she was torpedoed by Mr. Weinstein, which she says was an incredible professional opportunity. I don't think anyone can dismiss that. And the complaint said that Mr. Weinstein said some false statements saying that she was a nightmare to work with and that she should be avoided at all costs. She has also said that if she wins the suit, she will donate all monetary damages to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund. So, wow, it's really interesting to see the legal work. I'm thinking as well, it's easy to think of Stormy Daniels suing Donald Trump right now for defamation, and that came out recently in the news as well. And just seeing women who have been defamed, who have been harassed, basically taking legal action and realizing that the law is on their side in this case. Yeah. And I'm interested to see how this will turn out. Were you surprised to hear about this, Amir?
No, I'm not surprised. And when you hear something like this, like as an observer, you start going back into like your own experience, like seeing like how Ashley Judd's career went. And I remember in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, like she was a star. One of my favorite movies was Double Jeopardy with her in it. And then you realize like, wait, what happened to her? Like throughout the whole 2000s and 2010s, like you don't really see her anywhere. And then the Harvey Weinstein thing came up and you're like, wow.
There was a lot that came out.
Direct reason behind all of this, and it's terrible.
Yeah, just how disgusting and vindictive he was, not just towards Ashley Judd, but also Mira Sorvino.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing about that as well? And both of these actresses sort of had to reconcile with
Asia Argento as well.
Yeah, like with sort of the trajectories of their career that were absolutely impacted. I think torpedoed is a really strong and effective word for the imagery that it evokes. Their career was torpedoed by a petty man, a disgusting individual who was so like, what's the word for when he just felt so belittled by them rebuffing his harassment, so he just like took a dagger into their career.
The part that gets me the most about the whole Weinstein thing and other like people in power is their actual ability to do this, to actually ruin someone's career like that. And what does that even look like when we read these stories? Like the one line that's in here is that he told Peter Jackson that she's terrible to work with, and Peter Jackson just took his word for that. I have to think that there was more that he did to actually ruin her career, but like that's crazy to me that like this producer could go tell this filmmaker who should be able to make these decisions on his own.
Yeah.
And he told him like, no, don't work with her, she's terrible to work with, and that he was just like, okay, I'm not gonna work with her. Is that what it looks like?
I don't know.
Is that what the torpedoing looks like?
I think it is a little bit, I think what you're inferring to is true in the sense it's probably a little bit more insidious and a little bit more under the radar, and what we've found out is probably just the tip of the iceberg to the actions that Harvey Weinstein took, and perhaps some of this stuff could come out in the lawsuit. So this is just one example of how her career was torpedoed, but it's crazy to think about how a rumor like this took hold, and it probably started maybe with Peter Jackson or maybe somewhere else, and then think about how that would just, like ruminate or something, like go, what? I'm thinking of osmosis is the word, but like how that would get out into the industry.
Because I try to put
people to start believing that. If enough people say something, it feels really true. We'd have no backing of that. Ashley Judd seems nice to me. Mira Sorvino, Asia Argento, but like they seem nice to us, but we're hearing all these stories from reputable people. Peter Jackson, wow.
I guess I'm being naive. I would just hope that when the stakes are that high, when you're doing casting at that level, and there's like a star like Ashley Judd being considered for a role, and one person comes and tells you don't work with her, she's like bad news, like you would maybe do a little bit more due diligence. Whether you're Peter Jackson or whoever else, like meet the person by yourself and get like an understanding by yourself.
I mean, you would hope so. And I think that there is a little bit of naivety in that. And like, you would really hope that they would do that. And perhaps today, because we have more resources, think about when Lord of the Rings was announced. I remember reading about it in Entertainment Weekly when they had announced that they'd built the Shire and seeing an old photo of Liv Tyler. But it was a really different time then. And I think that we were seeing as a part of, Time's Up and Me Too, that women are to be believed and to given the same credence to be in those same rooms as the men, whereas before, it's really not that big of a stretch for me to believe that if Harvey Weinstein was like, she's crazy, for even an empathetic, compassionate director, as I understand Peter Jackson to be for the most part, from be like, oh, I guess so. We should why should I look any further? Let's just leave it at Harvey Weinstein's word, which is absolutely incorrect. And it's nice to see that we're remedying things like that.
I think at the end of the day, it is helpful to know like the terrible graphic details of like how he did these things. Just so as a public, we need to know like what goes into these monsters and how they operate.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I hope that that's part of what comes up in the lawsuit. We'll have to see.